Welcome to my Greek kitchen. My name is Nicholas Angelakis. I've been in the restaurant business for a long time and I learned how to cook. And when I had a problem, I used to call my mother and she was telling me about everything. One of the most known Greek food, which is everybody likes, is a Greek salad. Now, to make a Greek salad, really what you need tomatoes, you need a good cucumbers, which is you can squeeze a cucumber at the end of it to see how fresh it is. When it's like a soft, it's not so good. The middle, it's very crisp. If you can buy something which says at the end it's crisp, that say it's fresh. Tomatoes. Tomatoes is very important in the salad because it's the main ingredient. Tomatoes doesn't have to be big, doesn't have to be small, because in today's market, the kind of tomatoes, there are so many. It's the heirloom tomatoes, it's the ugly tomatoes, it's the beautiful tomatoes. Now it's very important to squeeze it and see it's kind of soft. Not very soft, because if it's very soft, that means it's mapa. So don't buy it. Now, also ingredients who makes the salad Greek is the olives and the olive oil. This is what it is. Now, the olives is known in the entire country. Kalamata is known to be the best. They sell it in almost every supermarket and Greek grocery stores. You can find it everywhere. It's really delicious. Then we go to olive oil. Olive oil is very important. And we do know because it's a main ingredient in a Greek cooking. Anything you do, you use olive oil. Then we go to feta cheese. Feta cheese is something which is everybody knows. When you talk to them, it's like, oh, you're Greek. Oh, I love feta cheese. Oh yeah, I do like it too. But it's just so many. I remember once I went to a grocery store in Los Angeles. And it was very important. The guy is behind the counter is the typical Greek with a big belly and white mustache and, you know, bald like me. And I asked him, I said, okay, do you have a feta cheese? He said, of course I have a feta cheese. This is a Greek place. So I said, okay, what kind of feta cheese you have? And he said, what do you mean? I have a feta. I said, no. From where the feta cheese is coming from. So let's start of making the Greek salad. I like my tomatoes to be in the salad in a natural temperature, which does that mean I don't like the tomatoes and the cucumbers and all the ingredients to be crisp and cold. I don't like it. I like the combination of the tomato to be in a natural temperature and have the cucumbers, who are going to be cold and crisp, to pick up the salad, and have the olive oil and the oregano smell and be very inviting to bite it. Now, here's the tomatoes. Tomatoes, the number of tomatoes you can use is all up to you, because how many guests? If it's just you and your husband and your child, you use only one. If you have friends and you like them, you do two. If you have a basketball team, then you have to make it, it all depends, 2, 3, 4, 5. So let's start with one, because there's nobody around to have the Greek salad, only George. But I don't really care, because he doesn't know, you know, what is good food. So I can give him anything I want. So let's start with the tomatoes now. The water is boiling. I stop boiling the water and I drop the tomatoes in for 2 minutes. Bloom, it's inside. So I'm just watching it. It's nice, really. It's nice also when it's boiling, to at that time, to put some salt in it so it's absorb the salt. So, we put the salt inside and we leave it for how long we said? 2 minutes. Okay, the tomato is out. Here it is, we take the water out and we take it there. Let's cut the tomato. We started from the heart. Here is the heart. We have to use a very sharp knife to cut the stem. So here is the knife and we go around and around and around. That's it. So let's take the stem out. Pop. Now the tomato is ready for the skin to be out. The skin is very easy to take it out after the tomato has been boiled for 2 minutes. Okay? I like the skin off in the tomato in my salad. Do you? I don't know if you ever try it, but I really love it. Most of the restaurants, they are not doing that because it's extra work for them to put the tomato for the 2 minutes, to take it out 2 minutes and take the skin off and do the whole thing. But I'll tell you one thing which is very important. When you take the skin off and you cut the tomatoes, the juice of the tomato is so much easier to come out. And mixing with your olive oil and olives and oregano and salt is fantastic to dip the bread, fresh bread in it, and it's, oh my God, I'm hungry. So let's cut the tomato. Let me finish it with this. Okay, the skin is out, the tomato is nice and clean and juicy, you can see it, it's shiny, and we are going to cut it. So we go to the, let me put this in this, we cut it, and we cut it right in the middle. Do you see the tomato when you cut it in the middle? And look, the end is already soft. Inside did not really affect it. It's not cold. I touch it. It's not cold. It's a natural. So we're gonna cut it in the slice. Everybody have their own style how to cut the tomatoes. Makes no difference. You cut the tomatoes the way you want it, and I'm gonna show you how I want to cut it. So I'm taking again the sharp knife, and I have this bowl, which is I am going to serve it. The bowl is nice, it's very impressive when you have a guest for your salad to look good. It's very important. So let's cut the tomato. I cut the tomatoes like this, like a half a moon, because this is how I like it, and in the middle, and looks really good already. I can see it, the tomato is juicy. And I'm glad I pick up a good tomatoes because sometimes, you know, like I mentioned it before, it's a lot of mapa tomatoes in the market. So, okay, here I have the one tomato and then I go to the other half, which is I am going to do the same thing. I am going to cut it in the half a moon sizes. You know, doesn't have to be really a big thing because somebody who is gonna eat the salad doesn't really have to use fork and knife if the pieces of tomato is big. So try to cut it in the bites, which is doesn't have to use a knife to have your tomato. I cut my tomato this way, that way. Okay, and now I'll show you the tomatoes, how really they look in the plate. It's a messy, okay? It's only good for the 2 people, maybe 3. But this is the main ingredient of the Greek salad. Now you can tell me, tomatoes, it's a Greek salad? No, but all the ingredients we're gonna put around the tomatoes, this is what makes it Greek. So let's start it. Let's go to the next ingredient, which is the cucumber. So we take again the same knife, we cut the ends, and we like it. I will say I like it. Let's skin out the cucumber on the style, not just cut the edge. Okay, so here it is, the cucumber, how it's gonna look of the stripes all around. Let's do the second one. I am gonna show you, you don't have to be the one next to the other. Leave some room in between. So the cucumber is gonna have that look when it's in the plate. Okay, let's continue, do the same thing all around. And here it is, the cucumber. Don't you like it? It's like a green and white, and it's gonna be very appetizing. Then you take, like I mentioned to you before, I don't like the salad to be in the chunks, in the big pieces. I like the salad to be able, somebody, to put a fork in it and put it in their mouth without having to use the knife. So what I do, I take the cucumber and I cut the cucumber in the middle. So here it is, the two pieces of cucumber. They look very appetizing. So we cut it in slices like this. No big ones, because like I mentioned it has to be a bites. Okay, looks nice. Like I mentioned, be sure they are the size of a bite. Now, the amount of cucumber you use, it's like I mentioned, it all depends how many people. So you don't really want to make the salad to be full of cucumbers. It has to be, the proportion it has to be, it all depends of the amount of tomato, because tomatoes is the main ingredient. So we put the cucumbers inside, right, like, spread it around. Really, you have to check to see of the amount of cucumbers. It's not more than the tomatoes. The next ingredient is onion. So we take the onion. I prefer the onion, which is really, they call it, Spanish onions. I like it because it's not really a fruit. It's a fruit, but with a little bit of spice in it. And I love those onions. Now, when I say next to the salad, or next ingredient, or next, you don't really have to follow one by one what is the first and one is the second. Just by me telling you about the salads, I go to one by one the ingredients. So I pick up the onion the next. Okay. So here it is again with a knife. So here is the onion, and I'm using it and slice it. The onion on the side, and as you see, the way I slice the onion, this onion is gonna come out and be in the pieces like this, this is what makes it a bite size. Okay, so I put the tomatoes, the onions, just like that. So let me show it to you. I pick up and I put the onions, I try to open it and be, in the good looking ingredient and extremely taste good. Okay, here is another ingredient in your salad. Some people also, they like to put green peppers in it or red peppers in it just to look good. But in reality, the Greek salad doesn't have all those things, because you can put anything. You can put, whether it's lettuce or whatever else. But the original Greek salad is very simple like that. The next ingredient, it's olives. And I told you the story of olives before. Olives, they're coming in a different color. They have the yellow, the green, the black. I like the black, and like I say, I like the Kalamata. It's also two choices you can have with you can have it with a pit or without it. I choose without it because I hate to put, my hands in my mouth and take the pit out or use whatever it is. So again, the proportion, it has to be the one which depends on the tomato. But I am going to put enough olives for, Okay, here are the olives. Before when I bought it, I want to be sure it's enough olive oil and be inside, with olive oil. It makes it more juicy. So here is the next ingredient, okay? Now, the next and the most important ingredient who makes our salad Greek, what is it? Feta cheese. Okay, let's put feta cheese in it, okay? I prefer the feta cheese to be crumbled and not one piece, because when you put one piece, you have to cut it with a knife or with a fork. You have to make it, in little pieces, or it depends on the person. Give me that piece, give me that piece. Crumble also, it helps the juice to be really good, and use bread. I love bread with my salad. I mean, I like bread in everyone, but with a salad special. And what makes it special to use it bread is the juice of the tomato and the olive oil, and of course the spices. And let's start, put the feta in. The feta is all around. And again, the amount of feta, again, is how much the people you have in the table like feta. This is what I will say. So, let's see here. I finish with the ingredients, but I go to the next thing, which is important, and it's the spices you are going to put, okay? So, it's just so simple things, like everything to do, it's a salt and pepper. So we use salt and pepper. We take the salt. I prefer the sea salt because, as you can see it's a big rocks of salt. By using the grinder, the amount of salt who goes in it have a special taste. It's not like a powder. It gives you really the taste of salt. So let's put salt in it. The amount of salt, it all depends the people how much they like the food salty. I will say, put the salt less than what it's supposed to be, and let the people who they eat it put their own amount of salt, whatever they want it. It's much more important, instead of putting too much salt and destroy really the salad, or be too salty. Some people like it, some people don't. You don't want to do that. So let's go to a pepper. Here is the pepper. It's again the same thing. Don't overdo it. Put it just enough, and let the people who eat to put more or less. They cannot put less, really. They cannot take it out. So they can put more. So let's put the pepper. I like a lot of pepper, but I don't know the people who are going to have the salad with me if they have the same choice. Now, this is what makes it the salad Greek. Oregano. There's so many different kind of oregano, and when I go to the supermarket, I don't like to buy a jar of oregano. I buy let me show it to you really what I do with my oregano. This is my choice of oregano. This is how I buy it. You can find it in every Greek supermarket. And oregano is one of the really good things Greece is producing, because our mountains everywhere, they are full of oregano if the goats doesn't eat it. So this is what I use of this, okay? I'm taking this oregano and I am gonna put it in my salad. So every chef or every cook in your house or in the restaurant, they have their own amount of putting oregano. To me, oregano, it has to be the number one spice in the salad. Like I mentioned, oregano is gonna make the salad be Greek. Let's do it. I think this is amount, it's perfect, which is just 1 pinch. So here I have The Greek salad. Ingredients: tomatoes, cucumbers, onions. Don't forget the olives. It's very, very important. Okay, and now is the last topping, olive oil. Like I mentioned it, olive oil is very, very important in the salad. So let's put the olive oil. Now the amount of olive oil, okay, it's all again up to you. I like a lot of olive oil because like I mentioned, I like bread with my salad. Now I put the olive oil. Don't be stingy. Put enough olive oil. Now it smells really, really good. I am gonna take a little thing like the one I use with the tomato, and I'm gonna stir it. Look the olive oil at the top of the tomato. Slowly, you're gonna see the olive oil change the color. And the reason it changed the color is because the tomato juice is coming out. It's like, oh, let's get together, baby. Olive oil and tomato juice. Okay, guys, this is a simple Greek salad. Enjoy it. It's very simple to make and you are going to love it. This is Nicholas Angelakis and I'll see you and talk to you and give you another recipe the next time.